to Ellen's Celebration of Life. Thank you for coming.
Lori,
Yes.
what's it do the mic?
Can't hear me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Welcome to Ellen's Celebration of Life. Thank you for coming. I'm Ellen's sister Lori. I will read the short summary listed in the remembrance folder for those of you who are not here in person, all of you Zoomers. Then I will speak for myself. I have written everything down so that my sister Sylvia has it to read so that I won't sign while I'm talking. After the family members speak, I will open things up for others to come forward. My request is that you speak slowly so that I can sign for Sylvia. If anyone would like a remembrance folder sent to them, please email or text me. My info should be on the email invitation that you were sent. Thank you to Jim, Cynthia, Annie, and Patrick McGonigal for setting up the Zoom and so much more that you have done. I appreciate it immensely. And I didn't bring one of those folders, so I'll be right back. I'm apparently not a professional. Okay. Ellen Marie Dill was born to Morris and Verna Dill on July 4th, 1959 in Carmel, California. She attended Forest Grove Elementary School, Pacific Grove Junior High School, Pacific Grove High School, Monterey Peninsula College, and San Jose State. During high school and NPC, she worked at Gianni's Pizza and Corral de Tierra Country Club. During college and after, Ellen worked at Chez Louis in Palo Alto, then started working at Hewlett Packard, where she stayed for 25 years. Ellen met Don Barrage at Chez Louis. They were partners for 7 years and then were married 10/27/2001. They lived in Mountain View until 2003 when they moved to Valley Springs. Don and Ellen moved to Elk Grove in 2014. Ellen loved her Don. She loved her family and friends. She called Lori's kids my kids. Ellen loved her Chez Louis family and her HP family. Ellen is survived by her husband Don, her sister Lori Wilson, Drew, brothers Steve Dill, Marcy, sister Sylvia Dill, nephew Jared Shively, Courtney, nephew Chris Shively, Melanie, nephew Taylor Wilson, Jamie, grandnephew Jordan Shively, grandniece Corinne Shively, and grandnephew Jameson Shively. Ellen was a fun, thoughtful, honest person who loved a good party and was excellent at throwing one. She will be missed by all who knew her. Ellen will be interred at El Carmelo Cemetery in Pacific Grove. So I think Don has a few things he wants to say. Are you ready? I could read mine first if you'd like.
Might as well.
Okay.
Try to get it.
Don will speak next, and then I'll come back and talk.
I'm sorry. Okay. You know, I think when we all meet the person that we we believe and we actually do live with each other for the rest of our lives, I think that's kind of a miracle. Well, Ellen was my miracle. Ellen was quick to laugh, and I loved her laugh. Lots of times when she was in meetings with her work people, she'd I'd hear her bust out laughing in her office, and it made me happy. She was also quick to cry. She was the most empathetic person I've ever known. Ellen was much loved by her family, friends, and workmates alike. Ellen was taken way too soon by a disease that left her not even a remote chance to fight. She received her various test results, each one more devastating than the last, with a sense of dignity and grace that I found quite remarkable. Not really surprising, but remarkable. Ellen kept a sense of humor to the end. The day before she passed, and she could barely even speak by then. She just out of the blue allowed how 2 cans of beer would be good right now. Not 1, but 2. I will love and miss her to the end of my days. And I'd just like to thank all of you for taking time out of your 4th of July weekend to be here. We appreciate it. And I know Ellen does. Thanks.
Sorry, Sylvia, I forgot to sign. Okay. So Ellen and I have been through a lot together. We didn't always agree, but we usually were able to work things out, which I think is pretty good. We had a pretty great childhood, Steve, Ellen, Sylvia, and I. Our parents were teachers, so we were all together in the summers. We usually went to stay at my grandma Lewis's farm near Salem, Oregon for most of the summer. Lots of cousins and animals to play with there, so best of both worlds. City kids during the school year and farm kids in the summer. There were also lots of fun times at the farm where my Dill grandparents lived in Chowchilla, California. My dad came from a family with 12 kids, so you never knew how many fun cousins would be there. Always a party thanks to Annie Mae. We all grew up appreciating family. So not surprising that Ellen made her work environment her family. I know quite a lot about her fellow employees, but don't worry, you're safe. My memory isn't that good. Ellen truly cared for so many of you. I'm not sure exactly when, but Ellen became our family organizer and planner. We'd always try to get as many of our immediate family together as we could for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the 4th of July. The fourth because it was halfway through the year and because it was Ellen's birthday. At some point, Ellen started adding to that. Ellen, the plan ahead person, I'm sure none of you know about that, would call me at least 6 months ahead of time and say, we need to all go on a houseboat trip to Shasta, or for my birthday to New Orleans, or for Sylvia's birthday to Murphy's. And then she would organize us. Fun times. Ellen loved a good adventure or party. However, she was just as happy with just her and Dawn and being a homebody. She was very artistic. She spent a lot of time decorating her house, and she has tried her hand at painting and was very good. I wish that she had been given more time to pursue her artistic talents. We talked several times a week. She had to try to organize me, you know. I still have things happen and think I need to tell Ellen about that. I miss her. Ellen has always provided good guidance for Sylvia. Sylvia and Ellen lived together for many years until Sylvia moved to Elk Grove when Apple moved. Although Sylvia is very independent, there are times when she needs help, and Ellen was always there for her. They often went on garage sale or wine tasting adventures. Ellen was a very good sister to Sylvia. Ellen was a very good sister to me as well. So I still don't believe that she's gone. Even though I was right there when she passed, I keep expecting her to walk out of the door here or to call me when I'm home. Ellen was a wonderful person and a precious sister. I wish that I had been given more time with her. Sylvie, thank you, Chris. So Sylvia wrote this and asked me to read it. When I moved to Mountain View with Ellen, I got that wrong. I moved to Mountain View with Ellen, but before that we lived in Milpitas. We lived together for a long time. We had a condo in Mountain View. We had different companies we went to for our jobs. And then she said, I moved to Sacramento to Apple Computer Company. Ellen worked for HP for a few years, and then Ellen and Don decided to move to Valley Springs. She had her own home office for HP. Ellen helped me to do the chores at her house, but she needed me to help her too. I thank Ellen to take me out to wine tasting with Dawn. I missed her, but more loved her in my heart. So is Steve on there, and is he able to see us and speak for himself, or should I read in? Okay, Stevie, can you take it over? So are these people gonna see Steve?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, go for it, Steve.
Okay, I'll read what I have. I remember Ellen as a smiley little girl, except when one of my teases went badly. She usually forgave me. The long drives to summer on the farm in Oregon were cramped, but we survived. Our first job was picking beans when we were there, riding Pixie, Trixie, and Funny Face the cow, playing on the raft in the beaver pond at Gates. I hope she remembered those summers as fondly as I do. In high school, she became a cheerleader with her friends Mary Lee and Liz. We decided that wasn't much fun and took a job with a new startup, Johnny's Pizza. We ate a lot of unclaimed pizzas for breakfast. I took her best friend Cindy to their prom. The band didn't show. Ellen and her friends didn't let that spoil their party. She went on to MPC and worked at Rancho Cañada. It was Corral de Tierra while I was in LA. After a visit to Chico State, she decided to stay closer to home at San Jose State. She waitressed and tended bar. She worked her way up to being the bar manager at a fancy French restaurant in Palo Alto, where she met Don. Perfect timing, perfect match. Ellen even took me to San Francisco for my surgery, even though she hated driving in the city.
She hated driving.
When Chez Louise closed, it was time for a career change. A little tech training, and she was off to Hewlett Packard to climb that corporate ladder. Eventually able to telecommute and buy a home in Valley Springs, the perfect party house for many family get-togethers. Plenty of room for George and Ziggy. Ellen had a lot to look forward to. Retirement approaching, nice home with a pool in Elk Grove, Don to watch Giants and Niner games with. Then she was gone. Too fast. I'll miss my little sister. That's it.
Do you want to say anything else? coming back on? Hello?
Steve, I'd just like to say thank you for that.
Any of my kids, do you want to come up and say something? We didn't talk about it specifically. Okay. This is from Ellen's very good friend and Dean. She wasn't here, can't be here for this. She lives in Arizona. It's a really long trip, but she did come right before Ellen passed. She drove 14 hours straight to be here. So this is what a Dean wrote. My dear friend Ellen, we have been through so much in the last 30 years, and the best part was having each other. It gave me peace of mind to have you there and be able to talk openly. You were my best friend and also the sister I never had. That meant so much to me. I remember flying up to visit you in Mountain View, and we would sit by the pool talking and laughing for hours. Or the time my mom secretly flew you down one year for my birthday. That was a big surprise. You convinced me to go to Maui with you and Dawn to help me with the loss of David. It was a wonderful trip and it did help immensely. Then the time Lori had me come up to surprise you on your birthday in Carmel. We got you on that one, you were completely surprised. We went to the restaurant that made your favorite calamari. It was delicious and you were so happy. It was a wonderful time and there are so many other great memories. Thank you for always being there for me. I hope I did the same for you. I miss you, my friend, your laugh and smile. I think about you every day and have to stop myself from reaching for the phone to call you. I love you so much and I'm grateful to know you love me as well. Okay, it's true. What? Yes. I guess I said my kids, I didn't mention my husband.
No, you didn't mention
I'm
that.
sorry. I meant you too.
Well, when Lori was talking earlier, it struck a note with me, and I thought, I have never had a disagreement with Lori that we've had to work through. She's the boss, so what's there to argue about? But we've known Ellen for gosh, many years, and been through a lot of excitement and episodes too. And one thing about Ellen that has been mentioned before was she loved to laugh. And we could get silly and have a lot of fun together. And just everyone who's been to the family get-togethers knows what that's like. She looked forward to playing cards. She loved the game of Wizard. And we would sit there at Wizard and laugh hysterically over some of the dumb moves we played, or what were you thinking when you did that? And we would just laugh. We took a trip to New Orleans years ago, and that was one of our big adventures that she planned for her birthday. And we had a blast at that. It just turned out that when we were there, there was a St. Patrick's Day parade. And we went through the parade, and we had a bundle of laughs, especially when some of the fellows there were hitting on Don as part of the party. We had a good laugh over that. We had a good laugh when we went to Hawaii, and poor Don had a pin in his toe. And when he got off the airplane, he was in a wheelchair, and they had to put him on the lift and lift him down from the wheelchair. So we were all standing from afar, taking pictures, and Don was doing just that, just shaking his head the whole time. And I can still remember Ellen laughing over that. And we just loved getting together. Ellen was a fiercely loyal person. She really valued friends and family. And we do miss her. It's taken a big piece out of all of us. And I was there to see her off too at the end. It still doesn't seem real. Like Lori said, you just keep waiting to hear her laughter again, even though we know we won't.
Would anybody else like to come up and say something?
being one of her first cousins, we were pretty involved with the other 37 or 36 first cousins we had. And it was amazing how well we became acquainted with each other. These Dills are never easy for anybody. But like they said, Ellen was such a upbeat person. Just kind of hope that you can take on some of those same characteristics. My Ellen story is when I was in high school, she was a cheerleader, like Lori said. And she had one of her cheerleader friends that wanted to go out with me. And I played football. Steve and I played football against each other. I was at one high school. He was at Pacific Grove High School. And the cheerleaders would come to town, so we all got to check them out. Well, you know, they were all pretty good looking as far as, you know, in my opinion. So when Ellen said, "Hey, one of our cheerleaders would like to go out with you," I kind of thought that was kind of cool. It didn't work out for some reason. I wish I could remember why, but you know, one thing about when we were kids, Ellen she wasn't that talkative when she was a kid. I mean, at least not around me. So I mean, I guess she picked up that gene later, Don. I don't know what the hell it was there, but she was pretty quiet. You know, Lori was more. Steve was the one that had everything to say. So of course, I was around Steve more than the other ones anyway. Anyway, I guess I was really bummed out that she couldn't make our reunion, but I know that in the past reunions, she was a very active participant. We're all going to miss her.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm Ellen's nephew. And Ellen's always been there for us. You know, we're not her kids, but frankly, she spoiled us. We would come to visit, and she did everything she could to make us comfortable, well fed. No, I have my kids, and they're spoiled. And you know, she just treated them like they were her grandkids, and you know, like you said, it's gonna leave a hole. And you know, coming back here, it's gonna be different. Just gonna miss her. Never be the rest. When I was in college, I was at Davis, and my friends were having a tough time. She'd always tell me to come stay with her for a while. And she just, you know, we just had a good time, talk. She's always there to listen. always been that way. Always want to listen, visit, talk through things, have a laugh. Obviously, a laugh make you feel better. Give advice, yes.
Wanted or unwanted.
Yeah, she always had good advice. And, you know, it's just such a great light in our life. You know, we really can miss you. Gone too soon.
So Jim and I have been chasing kids for quite a while. Alan periodically was getting to reap the benefits of our kids. And she'd ask, can the kids come over and help this or that, or feed Ziggy and George so Dawn and Ellen could go on a trip? And my kids would get so excited because they get the opportunity to make some money and play with the horses and enjoy the pool and just embrace this wonderful property. But this last year, because our kids are more grown, we finally got to go play with Ellen and Sylvie and go wine tasting and just have some fun with her. And I was just like, we're going to do more of that. Because Ellen is a really good wine tasting planner. She had, even during COVID, we had our reservation. She knew all of what they did, how much it cost. I felt so privileged to be able to be part of her wine tasting organization. And I bought a lot of wine. In fact, all that wine is gone because it was really good winery. The part that I so embraced about Ellen is her attention to detail. When we did the wine tasting, she knew what time. But next thing you know, she's bringing out of her cooler snacks because we had already been to wineries and we needed some absorption. And she brought out healthy snacks and then a few not so healthy snacks because the chocolate goes well with the Zinfandel. So she knew that. And then when things started to go south with her health, she started to think about things and embrace things. Even today, I truly believe she created this incredible weather. This is not a normal summer in Sacramento, and she made this 85 degrees. You know, that's just her being the planner up until the end. It's just amazing. So I know, Ellen, you're here. Thank you for creating such a beautiful day for your celebration. I know you planned it, and we will all continue to listen when you want to give us a little hint, whether it's Lori or Sylvia or Dawn or anyone else in the family. We are still your cousins and you're in our heart. Thank you so much for your direction and your wonderful, loving laugh. And incredible meeting planning and love of life.
Thank you for putting this event together.
For coming.
So I just wanted to say that I've been very fortunate and privileged to know Ellen. Over 12 years ago, she and I found ourselves working together, and I had the absolute pleasure to be her actual co-worker, and we talked every single day, day in, day out. And when you are that close, you get to know each other really well. And Ellen is just one of those friends who were just true and pure. And she always made sure that whatever challenges I faced through, she always comforted me, always gave me great advice. And I'm just so thankful for her. So yeah, every day I come into work right now, I do feel a big presence missing. But it's okay. I remind myself it's okay. I know Ellen's still here. So just to kind of tell you the kind of person Ellen was, when she first told me about her illness, I was very, very sad. But while she was out ill, a day before my birthday, I get an email from her. And she says, "Happy birthday, Hank." And I was, whoa. So I was like, that was so surprising. And it just characterizes who she is, you know. So I'm just so honored to be her coworker. And another thing, I first found out Ellen died. I just landed in Seattle. I was there for our company made all our employees for the end of April take a day off, just to take a day off. That's how wonderful HP is. And so I decided to go to Seattle so I can go look at the tulips. And I haven't shared this story with anybody except one person, and that's Ellen's boss. But I found out about Ellen when Dawn texted me right when I landed in Seattle. And I was just really heartbroken. But the next day, you know, my friend and I, Polly, she and I are out taking pictures of the tulips. And then we were done with the pictures. Like our cameras were dead. And then all of a sudden, out of blue, you know, we're just walking in the fields. This lady comes out of nowhere. And okay, first of all, she kind of looks like Ellen, like from her demeanor, the way she dressed, the way she talked. She came up to us and she said, "Do you want me to take a picture for you?" And but we were like done with pictures by then. And I said, "No, thank you, but that's very kind of you to tell us." And then the way she talked to us, I was like, I just had this instant moment that said, you know what? Ellen is not with us anymore, but that was definitely Ellen. She was reminding us, or me, that she's still here. And so I think that was very comforting for me. And again, I'm very thankful for you to put this together. So I was wondering if you and Sylvia and Dawn could come stand next to me. And Sue. So I wanted to, I don't know if you see it, but he's trying to say it. I wanted to share that what Lori said earlier was 100% true, in that Ellen definitely made HP her family. And so I wanted to present to each of you, and I know Steve is not here. I wanted to present to each of you a book that we put together. It's from all her colleagues around the world. And if they were here, they would definitely want to say a few words to her. So our way of doing it was writing a book, a memory of Ellen for each of you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
And we hope that you can treasure it and pass it along to your children so that they remember who Ellen is.
Thank you. That was absolutely beautiful. We'll put them out for people to look at. Thank you. So thoughtful. I'll make sure Steve gets this. Daughter-in-law Melanie.
Hello, everyone. I am Ellen's niece-in-law, Chris's wife. And I remember meeting Ellen and Dawn a few months after starting to date Chris. And I just remember how generous she was, just welcoming and opening up their home in Valley Springs to let us come. We would come and stay overnight and go fishing, and then we would come back and she would always have food for us, and she was just so generous and such a wonderful hostess. And I just remember just being so grateful to be part of this family. This family, the Dills and extended family, are so generous and such great hosts, and they know how to throw a party. And I just was overwhelmed with the love. And my own family, I can only count a few on one hand. I have a very small family, so being part of this family was the best, and Ellen was a big part of that. And I remember this time that Chris and I were going through a bump in the road and we weren't talking, but I called up Ellen and I just said, you know, just because Chris and I are broken up right now doesn't mean I can't talk to you, right? Because I wanted to still be a part of the family. I want to still be connected to Ellen and Dawn and still be able to have a relationship with them, because I was just so thankful for who they are and their presence. Just being with them, it was just such a wonderful feeling. Even though they weren't my blood, they still were so welcoming. And I remember I came across a little note that Ellen wrote to me the other day. She just said, you know, we have this beautiful house in Mackey Road, and feel free to come up and bring your friends. And she was so thoughtful. She always was thinking of how she could bless other people. And she would spend hours and hours cutting fruit from this orchard, just thousands of figs and cherries and apricots, and drying them. And she would send them in bags to all of the kids. And just her love would show through in what she did. Just all of her efforts, just again, so thoughtful. So I will always remember that about her. And her presence is just still here. I feel her still here. And we really miss her.
Anybody else like to say something?
Hi, I'm Patrick. I'm Jim and Cindy's son. My first memory of Ellen was in, I think, 2014 or 2015 when we first got the house. And I never met Dawn or Ellen before that. I don't believe. I might have, but memory wasn't. That was my first memory that I remember is we came over here to welcome them into Elk Grove, and while we were over here, they wanted us to check out a play structure that used to be out front that they were hoping to have their grandkids on. And so me and my little brother Riley go on it. You know, we're testing it out, making sure it's all stable so that nothing happens. And while we're up there, we discover a wasp nest that was not too happy to have us there. So we come sprinting out of the play structure across here and jump into the pool. I'm okay. And the wasps are flying all around. And so we knew that the play structure was probably needing to go because it was creaking around while we were on it, but it also was home to probably several hundred wasps. But from then, I spent a lot of time here taking care of the horses or coming over to play in the pool or just having a nice evening here. And Dawn and Ellen have always been so very kind, so very generous to us and our family. And unfortunately, I wasn't around to be there when she passed, but I know that my parents have got spent a lot of time with them as they became more and more empty nesters. And they were hoping to spend more and more time with John and Ellen, you know, as we all left. But now that Ellen's passed, you know, that's not as possible. But I feel like we'll probably still go wine tasting with those two. But I'd like to thank Don for welcoming us into his home and Lori for putting this on. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else like to say something? Murray, I'll bring it to you. I think it'll work. Will that work? Here, I'll help you. You can stand up, go a couple steps. Take your good. Bring a chair. Yes. Good. Okay. All right.
For those of you who
Get rid of your-
don't know me, I'm the oldest. Dill. Of the MJ Dill family. And Bud, Ellen's dad, was less than 2 years older than I am in the family of 12. I was 9th and he was 8th. And we were close in our actions through our life until he passed away at too young an age. He was a skilled musician. My wife played the piano when they got together. Often had a great time. But Ellen, and during her high school years, had a job at the country club where I was a member. And so I used to see her quite often at different parties. And she was a great waitress, taking care of the customers. And I enjoyed seeing her. And in later years, I didn't get to see her very often, not as much as I'd like. She was a great person.
Thank you. Okay.
So those that are online, you may not know there's a chat part of that. If you wanted to talk, you can either raise your hand or say something in the chat. My daughter will let you in.
Okay. Here comes Amy.
Hello, I am Amy Dill first. Peggy, my sister, is here, and we are Ralph and Edie's children. I just want to say that, first of all, Don and Ellen, you know, obviously are wearing their Hawaiian clothing to functions and whatnot, and I see a lot of people are wearing that today, but Don and Ellen just were such wonderful people. Every family function, the smiles, the laughter, the happy times. But I remember Ellen always with her glass of Chardonnay.
Yeah.
And she, it was always full, which is, she's my kind of woman right there. But anyway, so smiling, happy, having so much fun at all of our gatherings. But my mom, Edie, who, she loved her cigarettes, and so did Ellen. So the two of them at a function, they would disappear, and I was looking for my mom, and usually the two of them were together off to the side somewhere, dying laughing with the Chardonnay and the cigarettes. And so that just made me happy, and I just really feel like she was gone too soon, and we should miss her. And all these pictures are so wonderful of her. This beautiful, beautiful woman. We should miss her.
Thank you. Did any of the Zoom people try to check in? Okay. Thank you all for coming. And we have some food and drink, and we can continue to talk about Ellen. And let's see if I can get through a prayer for those who would like to join me. Oh, this one that wants to talk about too. Oh, who does? Okay.
Can I talk?
Hey,
Yes? Can you hear me?
Cindy, is that Cindy?
Yes.
Hi,
Hi.
Cindy. We can hear you.
Hi, Lori. I'm Cindy Segovia. I knew Ellen since elementary school, and I wasn't going to talk, but I just started thinking of a couple of memories, and I started thinking about when we were 16 and we flew to go see Lori, and she was going to college in San Diego, and Lori was so good to us, and she let us drink beer because she knew we would behind her back anyway. And I think she took us to an ice cream shop or something that night, and there was a bunch of guys there, and they're nice guys, a little bit maybe older than us. And Lori, we were kind of shy, and Lori wanted us to have a good time, so she brought them all over to her house for us to have a good time and play cards. And
I remember that.
And so Ellen and I got our beer and our cigarettes, and we were playing cards. And it turned out that they were there for a Billy Graham retreat or something. But we laughed. We ended up having a ball with them. We played cards, and they were the nicest boys, but it was so funny. And they didn't drink, but we did. And they told us about and then I think the next day Lori took us to Tijuana, and we went into the bars, and I remember sitting there, and I had a little bit of a line of guys that wanted to ask me to dance, but Lori and Ellen had a line to I don't know how long, and I found out they liked blondes, but we had a ball dancing with them. And anyway, I just wanted to share. There's so many things I could share, but I just wanted to say a couple of things. I didn't write anything down, but I loved Ellen, and I hadn't talked to her in a while, and I just was heartbroken. And I love all you guys. Thanks for letting me talk.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you. Okay, then try a little prayer. Dear God, I am so grateful for my time with Ellen. I'm a little mad because I don't want you to hold her close and take care of me. I hope you got one here, Ralphie, Elsie, and everyone who's passed. I really want you to hold her close and take care of her. Thank you, and there's some food and drink, and we can talk more about Ellen. Thank you so much for coming.